Hello, and welcome to the NX 7062 podcast. It's raining or snowing or it's precipitating. I don't even know what it's doing outside, but guys, I have been plagued with, oh my gosh, so many tech issues all day today, including on my trusty laptop, which now, see, it's got a touch screen, but it doesn't seem to want to work all the time, and the mouse is broken. But I'm here. Hi. I can't see the chat yet, but hopefully my mouse will come back. Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe. Yep. The mouse is somewhere. Somebody needs to put out some cheese for me so I can find my mouse and talk to you guys. Anyway, I am just so glad to be here. I hope, like I said before, everybody is out of their this was working right before I had to come on, of course. But I hope everybody's doing well. I am once again coming to you from my lower decks, as it were, because my office is once again too cold to work in. And we are here. And if I can get this all straightened out, it's like my mouse it keeps doing one thing. Hold on. So we're here to talk about Star Trek parodies, and there she blows. All right. We're here to talk about Star Trek parodies. I can't believe. Hi, let's see who's here. Yay, now I can see it. Hi, Joel. Hi, Dave. I know. It's like the gremlins in the machine. It's been happening to me all day, though. It's just been and for some reason Microsoft Edge is open and we really can't stand that. And like I said, the mouse freezes. I've got a mouse. I just don't know where it is. I haven't seen it since STLV, like one of those little wireless mices. So I'm just not even going to play with the mouse. We're just going to live with the screen and we're going to talk about Star Trek parodies. Because I can't believe I didn't think about this before. But wait, before we get into Star Trek parodies, a big shout out to Dave Sapone of 455 Films. If you guys want an update on the Voyager documentary, if you're not a backer, backers would have all gotten emails, but if you're not a backer and you just kind of want to know where it's coming out, when it's coming out, trekmovie.com did a great write-up. Dave shared it on Facebook. I checked it out. He did a great write-up. They are working with Fathom Events. I am so excited. I go to Fathom Events. Usually I go to Fathom Events for my riff track stuff because it's so great to actually see it live if you can. They do one live and then they do a rebroadcast, but it's so much fun to see it live. I've seen so many of them. But Fathom Events is fantastic and they're looking to do hopefully a 2-night event. Dave is just working on the details. If you want the specifics of everything that's going on with the Voyager doc, I highly recommend that you check out the Trek movie article and see. And if you're a backer, you should have already found out why it's been taking so long and why they haven't distributed the DVDs yet. So yeah, please do check that out. Let's see what other stuff did I want to talk about before parodies. Oh, if you are watching Landman, I know I mentioned it last week because they had that whole hold on, Fathom is great. They did the Shatner movie. Yep, they did the Shatner movie. They also did the watch. Now I'm not going to be able to get that off the screen, Dave. Oh, there we go. They did the Shatner movie. They did What We Left Behind for a 1 night only, and now, according to the article, they're hoping to do a 2-night only with the Voyager doc. So that would be fantastic. Raymond Litzter took me as his +1. I got to go to the New York premiere. It was amazing. They had a problem starting the film, and Ethan Phillips was in the audience, so he did a little bit of his stand-up. Oh, how was the Shatner movie? I watched For the Love of Spock on streaming, and it was so good. It was so good. And what We Left Behind was amazing. And what we left behind pops up on, like, I don't know if you can stream it, like go to a streaming service and stream it, but I've seen it pop up on like the like Tubi, that kind of stuff. I've seen it pop up on the free TV apps. So that's yeah. So I'm hoping the Fathom. I have Star Trek friends I can go with. In fact, I have a friend, literally a really good friend, out of the blue. Yesterday, he sent me a text and asked me if I wanted his batleth. He just got married. They're combining households. So, hey, Chris, good to see you. They're combining households, and the irony is that I've been trying to offer to get it signed for him for so long. I've been offering to get it, and now he wants to give it to me because he knows I will get more enjoyment out of it than he will. So he wants to give me the batleth. And am I gonna turn down a batleth? I don't think so. So I'm gonna take the batleth and give it a good home. Oh, guys, you know what? Hold on 1 second. Changing views really quick. If I don't, there's gonna be a problem. This is my life. You guys get a glimpse of my everyday life, because the problem with the computer right now is, come here. Somebody, oh, hold on. Somebody, ow. Ah! This has been my day. I kid you not. LeBeau decided to wander around the house. He didn't want to come up here when the show started. and now he does. So I had to rejigger things so that he could get up here. Say hello to the people. Say hello. There he is. Shannon's like, you can call me Bill. Oh, yeah, there you go. You can call me Bill. Thanks for that. I couldn't remember the name of it. So, okay, I hope you guys took your seasick pills before you joined tonight. So those are the updates. Oh, no, wait, there's one more update. Just for fun. Landman. Landman. I've been watching Landman. I actually binged it over Thanksgiving. Oh, Joel says hi, LeBeau. I binged it over Thanksgiving, and it is only 1 degree of separation from Star Trek, or 2. 1. I don't. Ali Larder from Heroes is in it, and if anybody watched Heroes, George Takei, Zachary Quinto, Dominic Keating, they were all in Heroes. So Landman, one of my new favorite show because of the entire amazing cast. Thanks to Ali Larder, is that 1 degree of separation from Star Trek. I know that was a couple weeks ago, but I had to throw that in there because I literally just spent Thanksgiving catching up on it, and I am now all caught up. And it is a really great show. It's like Dallas for the 2000s, and it's really good. It's streaming on Amazon Prime. It's an Amazon Prime original, and I highly recommend it. Okay, so now we get to talk about parodies. Okay, so it's funny because I looked it up on my phone, like the top Star Trek parodies, just to see what the internet has to say if it's ever been ranked or rated. And the first 2 that it listed were Galaxy Quest and the Orville. Those are not parodies. I feel like AI needs a better definition, a more specific definition of parodies, because only then did it get into like the SNL stuff and the Robot Chicken and the In Living Color. But it listed the Orville and Galaxy Quest first, and I don't consider them parodies because they took themselves seriously, especially the Orville. Like Galaxy Quest was maybe a bit of a parody of maybe it was a bit of a send-up of like sci-fi conventions, but I still wouldn't call it a Star Trek parody, and definitely not the Orville. The Orville is a love letter to Gene Roddenberry. It is a serious show that is inspired by Star Trek and wants to uphold the ideals of Star Trek and be a serious show unto itself with its own message that that Seth MacFarlane is saying. It also said Lower Decks was a parody. Lower Decks isn't a parody. Lower Decks is Star Trek laughing at itself in a way, not taking itself too seriously, which, yes, could, I guess, be considered a parody. I don't know what you guys think. I don't think Lower Decks was a parody. Maybe a farce. I don't know. I think there's a fine line between a farce and a parody, but I am not a grammaticist, and I definitely am not a Webster's dictionary. But I don't know. I actually went on YouTube. I don't know if this is going to work because of everything that's been acting up, but let me see something. Hold on. I want to show you guys. I think out of all of them, I think this is probably my favorite. I want to see if I can get it to show up. Okay, hold on one second, guys. I want to see what you're saying. Oh, that's tiny. Let me. Okay. Yep. I'm going to make myself the thumbnail. Okay. This is probably my favorite out of all of them when they
received all your letters over the years, and I've spoken to many of you, and some of you have traveled, hundreds of miles to be here. I'd just like to say, get a life, will you, people? For crying out loud, it's just a TV show. I mean, look at you. Look at the way you're dressed. You've turned an enjoyable little job that I did as a lark for a few years into a colossal waste of time. You must be almost 30. Have you ever kissed a girl? When I was your age, I didn't watch television. I lived. So move out of your parents' basement.
Are you saying then that we should pay more attention to the movies?
I can't believe these people. I mean, I really can't understand what
That was William Shatner, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to remind you, Trekkers, that we have some fine refreshments from all over the galaxy. Coke, Diet Coke.
Of course, that speech was a recreation of the evil Captain Kirk from episode 37, called The Enemy Within. Having received all your letters over the years, and I've spoken to many of you, and some
that oh, look at you, Dave. I love this. Lower Decks is a self-referential with Easter eggs. It's a different species, and the other two are their own movie shows in their own right. Exactly. Absolutely. I don't think it was mean. I don't think it was mean. I think it I honestly, because if you were a Trekker, that was the 80s. I mean, that was Phil Hartman and Kevin Nealon and oh my God, John Lovett. So we're looking at the 80s. If you were a Trekker in the 80s, you knew that that's what people were saying about you. You had to. I knew it. I mean, I was a Trekker in the 80s. So for Bill to come out and say it, I think it kind of took the sting out of it. I think it was funny. I think it was funny. I didn't take it that seriously because you knew that he didn't mean it. And you knew that that's what, the outside world thought of you. And just, it was funny to see like Captain Kirk, say that to you. But no, I think it was funny. I don't think it was meant to be mean. Like I said, because everybody knew that that's what assholes in the real world thought of Trekkers. So I thought it was funny that they kind of brought it. So I always enjoyed it. I enjoy watching the Star Trek cast parody themselves. There was a really fantastic Family Guy episode where Stewie literally beamed in the entire TNG cast. And he spent the entire day hanging out with the entire TNG cast. And I always thought that one was really good because they're poking fun at themselves. Out of SNL and In Living Color, the John Belushi SNL and the In Living Color, of course, John Belushi and Chevy Chase, you don't get more classic comedy than that. But Jim Carrey does Kirk beautifully. I thought. So there's definitely things for both of those. If you guys want to watch them, let me know. I called them up, but we don't have to watch them. But I have them waiting. I like the Bill Shatner one. I like when they poke fun at themselves. This isn't a parody, but there was an episode of The Librarians, and the Librarians are like rife with Star Trek references because their tech guy, stereotypically their tech guy loves Star Trek, and so does one of the other characters. But they had LeVar Burton. On as a guest star. And the one character mentioned something about Star Trek, and LeVar Burton looked at him and says, I've never watched it. The line was, I never watched it. It's the little things like that are funny. Night Court did some really great, I would call them parody scenes. They did a TOS versus TNG where a fight broke out at a convention between the TNG and the TOS people, and they literally had an argument in front of Harry about who was better, Kirk or Picard. And they were wearing these really these uniforms that weren't the right colors, but they were the right style, but they were the wrong colors. And we've talked about this before when John Larroquette basically parodied Maltz in the last Halloween episode of the new Night Court, and he's like, "Why does this feel familiar?" I love those. I love it when the actors kind of parody themselves and give themselves those little nods. Because like I said in the comments for the details for the show, when you've been around for 59 years, people are going to start poking at you. Poke, 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 poke. They're going to poke at you. Oh, hey Travis, no apologies. It's not that you're late to the party, it's that you came to the party, and I always appreciate it when you guys all show up. So thank you so much for being here. Yeah, the night court stuff was funny, and I don't know if you're talking about the new stuff or the old stuff, but there's stuff in both. The original Night Court had a lot. That was that was the big one. That was the big Star Trek parody scene that they did, but there were other Star Trek references and such that were in there that were really good. So yeah, the Night Court stuff was good. The other parody that Google reminded me of was the song Star Trekking. And if you go to when I used to work the Star Trek conventions, I like one year that I worked the auditorium. I don't think they do this anymore. But then I haven't been in the auditorium enough. But when I was working the auditorium, when there was not anybody on stage and they didn't have a band, they actually used to just pipe music. Like you would hear the themes, you would hear the different themes to the shows, and you would hear Bilbo Baggins, you'd hear Leonard Nimoy singing Bilbo Baggins, and you'd hear Star Trekkin'. Star Trekkin' Across the Universe was great. It's such a fun song. It's a parody song. I'm not sure if Weird Al Yankovic ever did a Star Trek parody. I'm trying to think. He did some really great Star Wars parodies. Did this one about Anakin Skywalker to American Pie. But yeah, the new stuff and the old stuff. Like I said, Night Court's available on Prime now too. I wish I could tell you. I'm sure if you just Google Night Court Star Trek on trial or Star Trek scene or something, it'll come up. But that Night Court scene is worth the entire episode. I'm not even going to tell anybody how it ends if you haven't seen it in the old stuff, because it's the end. The end of that scene is fantastic. But what do you guys think? What do you guys like? Do you have favorite parodies? The other parodies that I really love, when parodies are done right, they're done by people that have watched the shows. They're not just thrown together because some people have like some minor knowledge, but they're done with the people that do their research. I mean, I'm gonna get, this is really funny. My friend Evan, when he was in college, he was the porn king of his dorm. Now, I will tell you that the year that he was porn king, the dorm was one level. It was like an H-shaped building with guys on one side, girls on the other, and like a rec room in the middle. That I will have to check out. Thank you for that. Mystery Science Theater 3000, Amir. That must have been amazing. Spaceballs is more Star Wars. If I might lose some people, I'm not a huge fan of Spaceballs. If there are Star Trek references in Spaceballs, I haven't watched it enough to notice. I know that Tim Russ is in it, and he makes the combing the desert comment. But outside of that, I really don't know if Spaceballs. Star Wreck. Okay, there we go, Star Wreck. Are we talking about something specific? Are we talking about the awesome guy on Instagram that does all those parody songs? Because he is amazing. I've met him. He lives out in LA. He came to the Shuttle Pod Show live event. He's fantastic. He's fantastic. He's that Enterprise Christmas song about walking around in blue underwear. He's absolutely fantastic. Oh, they have Snotty. Okay, thanks, Chris. Yeah, like I said, all I know is more of the Star Wars lean of it. I haven't watched it enough to get the other stuff. Wild Horses episodes. Mads are in the theater event. Okay, cool. I will have to look that up, Joel. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, Spaceballs, I would argue Spaceballs is Star Wars with a couple of little Star Trek jokes thrown in. But like I said, I haven't watched it enough, so I'm not gonna. That's just my opinion from somebody I think that's maybe seen it all the way through once. But what I was saying, so Evan is the porn king of the dorm, but like I said, it's not a big dorm. It's one level with one hallway of guys' dorms. Couldn't have been more than 20 rooms, maybe. Um, Obviously I visited. Anyway, so he was the one that had the collection when all the guys. There are Star Trek porn parodies. And I just remember the one that he put on when I was up there. And trust me, I wasn't asking. It was right before their winter break, and the room got flooded with guys, and they all wanted to watch porn. So Evan popped this one in. But I just remember the red shirts died. Um, um, the red shirts died. So I thought, oh my god, even the porn people get the red shirt joke. But yeah, so I mean, it's gone as far as porn, but it's only really good parodying when you understand the subject and you're not just go, oh well, I know Kirk, like I know Kirk and Spock. Who else has done really good parody? DC Legends of Tomorrow had a really good funny parody of it that I enjoyed. I really like DC Legends of Tomorrow. I mean, I was really disappointed when they canceled it. Of course, they killed off Snart, and he was my favorite. Captain Cold was my favorite. Oh well, then I will have to check that out, Travis, because I'm thinking Star Wrecked. He's this fantastic parody song artist. You can find him on Instagram. Definitely looked him up, but I think he spells wreck differently. I think it's like KT, like WREKT or something, but you should look him up. Polish Star Trek pair. I will have to look that up. Thank you so much. I've never heard of that. See, it's I mean, obviously it's parodied around the world. Oh yeah, on top of everything else, I think I'm getting sick. I was also up at 5:15 this morning, guys, because okay, I'm gonna do a PSA. Anybody that is in New Jersey and is looking to adopt an animal, the Burlington County Animal Shelter is amazing. Their people are amazing, and they are helping me. I adopted 2 cats. The ones I've been trying to introduce you guys to, Lex and Pluto. And Pluto had a dental issue, and they worked it out to help me out since I just adopted him. And we all know that I ran into that problem with my other cat, Drew, adopting a cat that had major dental issues. But anyway, so they said that they would be able to fix it so that the shelter helped me out. So I had to get up at 5:15 this morning to take Pluto to his transport that took him and dropped him off at the vet so that he could get some teeth pulled. Poor baby. Had to get some teeth pulled. That was his dental, and he's got a thyroid issue, so they had to check his thyroid levels. So I am running on very little battery power, and I'm getting sick, but I am here because I was so excited to talk about Star Trek parodies. Because, like I said, the Jim Belushi one and the In Living Color one, which you can find them both on YouTube, really stood out. They were kind of like the first. I feel like they were like the first really big ones that paved the way. Robot Chicken, if you guys, which is streaming on HBO Max, which is Seth Green and Brendan Breckenridge, I think his last name's Breckenridge. He was in that lawyer show with Mark Gosling. Yeah, I think it's Breckenmeyer. I don't know, but he and Seth Green got together, and it's all claymation. They parody anything pop culture. They're on HBO Max. They are fantastic. They do the my favorites are when they do the Super Friends, but because they do Legion of Doom stuff, and then Super Friends Legion of Doom is my favorite ideation of the cartoons. But they do Star Trek stuff too. Not only do they do Star Trek stuff, but they have enough pull that they've gotten Zachary Quinto on as a voice. So a lot of times when you're watching them parody things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar is actually doing the Buffy voice. Because as we all know, Seth was in the first few seasons of Buffy. but so that might be a little easier of a get, but they get Seth MacFarlane to do a lot. Seth MacFarlane does their Emperor. The thing that they really parody, like really heavily, they've done these amazing Star Wars parodies that are fantastic, that are their own shows. Like these are like 15-minute Adult Swim shows, but when they do their Star Wars ones, it's half-hour ones, and I highly recommend them. And Seth MacFarlane does a fantastic Emperor. He does the Emperor when they go big for that. So he does a fantastic Emperor. But yeah, Family Guy's done some really good. Family Guy had Bill Shatner, meet Peter. Peter hit him with the car, and they parodied, his whole manner of speaking like the entire time, but they make his body move with it. There's just this one scene where I remember it was Captain Kirk, but they were literally playing with him like a Tetris piece, like he was at all angles. Like it was great. It was great. YouTube has the TNG porn parody, sans nudity you can watch. Oh, that is awesome. Thanks, Joel. YouTube has a TNG porn parody, sans nudity. The Salon did a commentary on Patreon. Okay. I don't know what the point is of watching a porn sans nudity, like how that works, but that still might be an interesting watch. Thanks for that, Joel. Like I said, it's just funny to watch porn where they actually know what they're parodying, because then it just makes it that much funnier when you're watching it as not only somebody that wants to watch a porno, but somebody that likes Star Trek. So I think that's kind of cool. That's interesting, Chris. There's more. Oh, hit the wrong one. Okay, hold on. There we go. More Star Wars parody than Star Trek. That's really interesting. Well, when I was looking on YouTube for Star Trek parodies, it did come up more than just the John Belushi one. There was a bunch of one like TNG, like they go into it. But I mean, back to your Spaceballs comment. Spaceball is like, Spaceballs is mostly a Star Wars parody, and this is so Star Wars had an entire movie parody made of it, thanks to Mel Brooks. And yeah, Star Trek never got that because, like Dave said earlier, Galaxy Quest is in and of itself its own entity. It's not meant to parody anything. So it's a standalone in and of itself. And again, it's a nod towards Star Trek, but it's not a parody of Star Trek. So just on that level alone, and like I said, like Robot Chicken does like the little vignettes, like the little sketches, but when it comes to like full like half hours, they've done a couple Star Wars parodies, and then Family Guy has done 3 parodies based on the 3 original movies, the original trilogy. Seth has done all 3. In fact, he actually called one Blue Harvest, which was the pseudonym. I want to say it was the pseudonym for Empire, but I'm not sure. But I know it was the pseudonym for one. Yeah. I would have to agree. I'm leaning towards that as well. I think Chris is right. That on the whole, Star Wars does get parodied more. Maybe it's from a lack of, I don't know, because maybe there's not as much. Well, I mean, there is now almost. But before now, before Star Wars, before Disney started all of the Star Wars shows, you felt like Star Trek had enough. I don't know, maybe Thumb Wars. Oh, that must be hysterical, Chris. Thumb Wars, that must be absolutely hysterical. I'll have to go check that out too. So much stuff I have to check out. You guys put all these really cool things to check out in the comments so that when people watch, they can also like have a reference in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. So just like put in like, go watch Thumb Wars, go see the Polish Star Wreck. That would be great. I would love that. I would really appreciate that. But yeah, now that we're talking about it, if this was a sci-fi show and not just a Star Wars show, next week's show could be all about the cool Star Wars parodies. Like I said, like I think there's, I believe that would be Lex. I don't know where he went, but that's the noise that he likes to make if you guys heard him. No, but I have to agree with you. But yeah, like I said, I think in Living Color, when it comes to the earlier stuff, Jim Carrey did a great Trek, or did a great Shatner. I mean, technically that one episode of Strange New Worlds where they went back, where they were doing the holodeck, and Paul Wesley is like basically parodying Jim Kirk. I mean, in a way, that was a parody of itself. That was kind of like a snake eating its own tail. It's a parody of a show that is the show that they're parodying at the time, technically. But I thought that was funny. But that was really well done. That was really well done. I enjoy. That's probably my favorite Strange New Worlds of this season. I got a little bored with the whole mystery thing. That whole thing with her becoming like the Guardian sort of wore out its welcome with me. But that episode I really liked, when they stopped with all of that and they just gave us a fun episode with very serious overtones, but all in all, a really fun episode. I'm fading, guys. I really wanted to spend so much more time. I wanted to show you, but I don't think you guys want to watch me cough. Trust me, nobody wants to hear me cough. I am a terrible cougher. I remember how embarrassed I used to get in school because when you're sick, your cough is always the last thing to go. So you could feel totally fine except for your cough, and then your mom makes you go to school. And I would hate coughing in class. And that's right. Thank you for reminding me. The Wonder Years did a Trek episodes with the kids in uniform. Yep. And Wendy was in that cute little uniform with the whole, oh my God, those are girls. What are they? When does season 3 come out on Blu-ray? I do not know the answer to that question. Have you asked Mr. Google or Mr. Chat GPT? By the way, I used to hate Chat GPT, and I still don't. I don't use it to write things for me. I can write for myself, but I have found some very interesting and unique uses for Chat GPT. It's way more than what I thought it was. But yeah, I don't know when season 3 is coming out. That's a really good question. I monitor, like, I haven't seen anything on the news either, like the Star Trek news cycles. I haven't seen anything about it, but I will tell you that I'm crossing my fingers for the holidays because I really want the Enterprise bomber jacket. I literally told my parents that is the only thing I want. So, cross your fingers for me that I get the bomber jacket. But I would love to hear what you guys think about the, like, what is your favorite Star Trek parody? We got some great ones going here, ones that I didn't even know existed, ones that I had. Yeah. You know what? I wish I was close enough to somebody to ask, but I'm not. So I'm sorry, Travis. Can't help you with that one. I wish I could. But honestly, if I knew somebody to ask, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you anyway, right? Because God forbid, everything hush hush. The dog didn't want to get out of bed this morning either. I'm like running around getting ready to go take the cat, and he's like, "No, I'm not getting out of bed." Except that there was breakfast. I fed them all. Anyway, but yeah, so put it in the comments what your favorite Star Trek parodies are so I can look at them. Especially if you think of them after yeah, thanks, Travis. If I do, you know I'm wearing it on the show. But yeah, please let's let everybody know what your favorite parodies are. I know I got one vote on my Twitter poll that the SNL with John Belushi was, I think it was Joel's favorite. Somebody voted that it was their favorite. Like I said, I think it's a classic. It's definitely up there. Oh my God, before I forget, the other parody, they said Pigs in Space. And I've never even thought of Pigs in Space as being a Star Trek parody. But I guess it is. They had a doctor. And oh my God, swine. The captain was that what was it, Heartthrob? Heart something. I can't remember the character names, but I guess I would have to lean into Pigs in Space as being a Star Trek parody at the time. I mean, it was the 70s. And there was a crossover episode because when Mark Hamill was on, he dressed up as Luke Scott. Actually, when Mark Hamill was on the Muppets, he played Mark Hamill, and Luke Skywalker was his cousin. So he kept changing into the white Luke Skywalker tunic, jumping around going, "Where's my cousin Mark? Oh, here's Mark. Mark can dance. I can." It was hysterical. But when they took over the swine track, when they took over the swine track, it was C-3PO, R2-D2, and Luke Skywalker. So there was a Pigs in Space Star Wars crossover. It was really cute. And Miss Piggy came out just as Princess Leia, and was hitting on Luke before we knew that they were brother and sister. Yeah, I agree with Travis. SNL did one of the best. But Carrie's I'm going to say it one more time before I end the show. Jim Carrey's William Shatner was really good. His Captain Kirk was really good. And I can appreciate that. Other, I guess, parodies you could say along the lines of, John Larroquette dressing as a Klingon, Zachary Quinto in his new show Brilliant Minds for Halloween. At the very end, he dressed as Spock. But I think I mentioned this. The whole thing got ruined because Zachary Quinto in that show has a beard, and he didn't shave it for the 2 seconds that you actually saw him in the ears and the blue the uniform. And I get that, but it's like, ugh, you're not Spock with a beard. Not even a goatee. You're not even Mirror Universe Spock. You're just Zachary Quinto with ears. But I still thought that it was really good. So we've only got a couple more Mondays till the holidays. I haven't decided if we're gonna go through the holidays or we're gonna take a break. But I am gonna be here next week, assuming I have a voice left, like I said. I am actually going to go see the doctor. So hopefully that will shorten whatever this is. And I will have a voice for next week. And I will feel much better. And I will be able to talk to you much better. And maybe if my office is warmer, then I won't be in the lower decks anymore. And you guys won't be staring at my wall behind me. But I'll be able to put up my my show. But for all of us on Couchland, which right now is me and Vader and LeBeau, we want to wish you the best. Thank you, as always, for hanging out with me here. And until I see you all next week, please remember to live long and prosper.